Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to have you. If you are new here, hello and welcome. We would love to have you join us along our journey and subscribe to our channel. I do all sorts of different things from, just mom life, grocery hauls and DIY projects and whatnot. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to share my son's birth story. So I thought that it would be fun that as each of my children had their birthdays this year that I would share their birth story with you. So my son just turned 8. He is our 4th child, and he is our first boy. So anticipating his arrival was super exciting. I mean, all of our babies were super exciting, but he was our first son. So there was a little bit more excitement and unknown, I guess that you would say, because we had 3 girls, and I didn't know what to do with a boy. So there was a lot of learning that came along. So anyways, he actually really threw us for a curveball. My first 3 deliveries, which I guess that's not really part of his birth story, were just normal, smooth sailing, nothing spectacular happening. But my son was a little bit more exciting. So we, excuse me, I actually had him at 38 weeks. He was our first child to come, I mean, it's not technically early, but, earlier than our due date, and by 2 weeks, because my due date was May 14th with him, and he came at the end of April. So I had just turned 38 weeks. So anyways, I went to my normal doctor's appointment for my normal checkup, and, normal routine things. Everything looked fine until she measured my belly, which when they do the measuring of the belly, you just kind of think, oh, it's just routine. At least I did. I didn't really put too much thought into it. And my midwife was like, you are measuring 1 centimeter behind from where you were last week. Because at this point, I guess I was going every week. I was like, oh, really? I was like, is that something to be concerned about? And she was like, well, not necessarily. The baby could have just dropped some. Could be in a completely different position, whatnot. But we're going to schedule you for an ultrasound just to be on the safe side. I was like, well, he is super active. And she was like, well, that is, obviously a great sign. I was like, okay. So I really didn't have a whole lot of worry to it because one, we named him Jackson, and I called him my little jumping jack in my belly because all he did was jump around all the time. So anyways, I had to wait 2 days for my sonogram appointment. Now I'm sure if my vitals were off or, something a little bit more serious, I could have gotten in, sooner. So anyways, I waited 2 days for my sonogram appointment. I went in and I guess I just had that mama intuition. I'm sorry, my camera keeps moving. I just had that mama intuition, and my husband came along with me to this appointment, and I brought my hospital bags, which, just towards the end, you just kind of want to be prepared. So I went in for the ultrasound, and, normally the techs are just so sweet and scanning your belly and just asking you questions and talking to you. She put the probe on my belly, and the look on her face was just, there was no talking, nothing. I was starting to panic, obviously. What is going on? What's the matter? I was like, he's moving. He is moving. And she said, don't worry. Everything's okay. I'm going to go get the doctor. Which in my head, I went to a practice that had, I think, 3 midwives. And they obviously had OBs as well. And I always saw the midwives. My first 3 births were with the midwives, and I never even saw the OBs. So I knew something was serious when they said, we have to go get the OB. So anyways, the doctor came in. I had never met him before, but he was very nice and explained everything to me. And he said, it looks like you have no amniotic fluid. None. That normally the levels, I've learned a lot over the years too. The levels when they measure the pockets of fluid around the baby, or if they equal, they add up, I guess, the fluid ounces. If it's 5 or below, they send you straight to labor and delivery. Or they admit you overnight or, pump you with fluids or figure out, depends on where you are in your pregnancy. So anyways, my fluid levels were at a 0, which obviously is not good. So, and they said, and it also looks like he has stopped growing. He is measuring to be the size of a 36-week baby. So they sent me straight to labor and delivery. They prepared me for the worst. They prepared me for him to be under 5 pounds. They said, more than likely he will not even be 5 pounds. Like, I think he was measuring what they said. It was under 5 pounds. It was like 4 pounds something. And they prepared me for him to be admitted to NICU for unknown amount of time, that breathing issues, all the late or preterm baby issues. So naturally, I was super anxious, and I even asked them, I was like, does this mean I had 3 natural deliveries before? I was like, does this mean that I need to have a C-section? Like, I just want my baby to be safe. If you have to take my baby via C-section, please do it, because I want a safe, healthy baby. Not, I wasn't pushing for a natural delivery because I was just scared, and I wanted to hold my baby and know that he was okay. And the OB was calm, and he said, I really don't think so. You had 3 natural deliveries before. He is monitoring everything okay at the moment. We'll obviously, closely monitor him while you're in labor. And, if anything happens, then yeah, we'll probably have to do a C-section. More than likely, you'll probably be fine. So, again, I was super nervous because I just wanted my baby. So I had to have I forget what it's called now because I've only had it with him. The pill where they insert it and so it ripens your cervix, because there was nothing happening. I think I had to have 2 or 3 of those. I was admitted to the hospital around 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning, which I had 3 natural deliveries before, but whenever I was admitted to the hospital, I was in labor. So I was really nervous. How is this going to be? Because I didn't have epidurals with my previous babies, and I didn't know that, if I was going to be in labor for 18 hours because I was being induced and all this stuff, if I could handle it. So a lot of fear and unknown was happening. So anyways, once my cervix was at the place where it should be, I can't remember, what they said it was now. But they broke my water. He was like, well, we're going to break your water, and hopefully that will help, naturally induce labor. Well, he broke my water, and there was literally nothing. Like, I felt a trickle. So if you've had your water broken, the feeling of like the gush. I didn't have that. I was which obviously made me more nervous and scared. So, just labor's progressing. I had Pitocin. And I want to say, like, labor really picked up. I remember thinking I was only in, like, active labor for about 6 hours. Labor picked up, late afternoon, early evening time, as far as, like, consistent contractions and whatnot. I did not end up needing the epidural. I was able to, because it did, once, like, labor picked up, it picked up fast. And the midwife, they had said, since everything's monitoring perfectly, you can see your midwife if you would like. So I said, yes, please. I would like to see my midwife. And so she came in, and she actually checked me, and I was 6 centimeters. And I was like, okay, progressing right along. And then, she left and was like, it'll probably still be a few more hours. Well, it was 20 minutes, I believe. And I looked at my husband, and I could feel my body bearing down. And since I, have been here before, I knew what was happening. And I told my husband, I was like, go get the nurse. And he was like, oh, she was just in here. There's no way. I was like, go get her now. And literally, like, my body just naturally started pushing. And my midwife caught her baby just in time. I was like, and it was quite eventful because everybody's rushing in and yelling, getting the baby and checking him over, and NICU was running in because, we didn't know what was going to be going on with him. So there was like 30 people in the room, and I'm panicking because it also just happened so fast, and I had no control over it. It was my body, a woman's body is just made to have babies, so it just naturally happens. So anyway, so all that's going on. Finally, I couldn't even see him. Like, they didn't prop him on me or nothing. So they're wiping him down and checking him out. And NICU probably looked him over for probably a good 15 minutes or so. And my husband was worried about me. He's always like this after I have a baby. He's more worried about me than the baby. And I'm always like, I'm fine. Just go see the baby. Go see the baby. So once I guess he knew that I was okay, he ran and, was checking out the baby. And all this was happening in the room. Like, NICU didn't take Jackson out. And then Jackson was cleared and they handed him to me. And he was all cleaned up and swaddled. So I didn't have that moment with him of just being oopy and goopy and on my chest. But I was just thankful that, he was healthy. He actually weighed 5 pounds, 12 ounces, and he was 18.5 inches long. And they were so impressed with his size that they were like, we don't have to admit him to NICU. And his breathing was perfectly fine. And it was just God's answer to prayer. I was like, thank you, Lord, because I was so nervous to, I didn't know what it meant, what would happen with him being in the NICU and all this stuff. So anyways, our baby was doing fine. And the nurses were still kind of hanging around and watching him, watching me. And then the nurse kind of was like, his breathing is a little off to me. And I was like, I hadn't noticed. And I was like, okay. So she called NICU. And when you call NICU and have them come in to look over a baby, they automatically, standard care is that they have to take the baby for 2 hours. So I'm crying, worried about my baby. My husband followed him to the NICU. And once I was cleaned up and ready to go, they wheeled me to NICU. So we stayed in there with him. And actually NICU said as soon as we got there, they were like, just everything is going great. His breathing sounds wonderful. We think that he just had a little bit of gurgle, fluid in his lungs, but he is okay. But we have to keep him for 2 hours. So obviously that was, music to my ears. And they gave us our baby at the 2 hour mark because I sat there and I was watching the clock and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go to my room. I got my baby. It's at the 2 hour mark. And then from there on, he was perfectly fine. We never had to have any other extra special care or anything regarding his small size. So, like I said, he was born 2.5 weeks early. He nursed like a champ. We didn't have any issues with that. And we named him Jackson Espen Fields, and that's Espen as in ESPN. Yes, ladies, I win Wife of the Year, or from eternity. My husband is a huge sports fanatic. And this is his first son. He did not want a junior. He wanted Espen as his name. And I really wanted Jackson, so that's how I kind of got the name Jackson. I was like, sure, I'll give you Espen if you give me Jackson. He said, okay. I was like, sounds good. So that is the birth story of our sweet baby boy who is now 8. Hold him tight, ladies, because they just grow up so fast. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about this. Because I just cannot believe that he's 8. I'm like, he's a big kid. Anyway, so I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And they're picking you up? Okay. And I gotta go attend back to my normal mama duty. So Jackson has just truly blessed us. He is such a sweet boy. And he, having a bunch of sisters, he is just super sweet to them. And I just think it's gonna make he's gonna make a great husband and father one day, and know how to handle women. So anyways, I gotta go. I hope you all have a blessed day. Thanks. Bye.